Well, first, Imshat, your title. Brabim and Mityahadim, right? What's that mean? Yeah, does it mean they became Gerim?
No.
No. We're in Chumash. What?
Citizens of Judea.
Mityahadim.
Judea was the.
No, why the word Yehuda? But later on, that's not the word for conversion. Now, is there in Chumash? Is there a conversion in Chumash? Yeah.
It's a for example, a guy who shares Kutunano. If he did a Neveila for a Ger Tzedek, wherever the Torah.
A Ger Tzedek? A Neveila to a Ger Tzedek?
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not
a Ger can't be Jewish. Yeah.
One for my knowledge.
The piece of a Ger.
Okay, ready? Okay.
The only place is by Eved. The toilet is by Eved.
By Eved is it?
Eved cannot. It becomes a little bit the Chiyav mitzvah, and then when you get
but that's how Chazal understand it. Is that pshat?
No, it's not pshat. So that's why.
No, but it's sort of by Avraham Avinu has to megayer his abadim, right? I mean, has to do bris milah on his abadim. Are they Jewish?
That's why it came.
In Torah Shema they are.
Has to megayer his abadim.
Yeah. But
I mean, has to do bris milah on his abadim.
Yes.
Are they Jewish?
Of course not.
In Torah Shema they are. Yeah, but in Chumash. Okay, so ready? Okay. V'nislach l'chol adam b'nei Yisrael v'nageh gar b'tocham k'man b'shgaga. Is he Jewish? Why does he have to be Jewish? When do we say that pasuk?
No, he's not Jewish.
In Kol Nidre, no?
Yeah.
And what's the context?
Why not?
Where's that from? When?
A gay is somebody.
But where's that pasuk from?
It's not from the Meraglim?
What? It's from Chumash. Without the Chazal, it's from Chumash. But where in Chumash is that?
It's not the Meraglim?
Where? After the Meraglim. But what did? V'chi tishku v'lo tasu b'kol mitzvot Hashem asher lo tesena. Yeah. That's when the Beit Din Agadol makes a mistake, right? Called Hakhel and Davar Tzibur, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. It should be a Vayikra, but it's in Bamidbar Tetvav. Bamidbar Tetvav.
There's two places. One is in Shlach.
No, they're not. V'nislach l'chol adam b'nei Yisrael v'lager gar b'tocham is only there. That's by a ger, right? Is he Jewish or not?
No.
What? Is he Ger Tzedek?
Where do you see that?
Well, why does he have to be Jewish? What? No, I'll give you a better one, okay? The chametz, right? Again, can a Ger eat chametz or not? Give me the pasuk. Parsha Chodesh. Parsha Kapara. What's it say? Parsha Chodesh, yeah?
What?
Can a Ger eat chametz?
In public for sure not.
No, what's the pasuk? Open it up. Open up Perek Bet.
Kudos for again.
Open up Perek Bet. Read pasuk Yutet. Shivat Yamim, not louder. Shivat Yamim. Why does he have to be Jewish? What's his punishment? Koreis. How can a ger be chayiv koreis? You can't be chayiv koreis if you're not Jewish. Where do you chayiv koreis from? Koreis you should cut off from the Brit. Yeah. There's no musagas koreis without Brit. Does a ger need paraduma? Does a ger need Yom Kippur? Vaytazot lechem l'chukat olam l'chodesh hashvi'i. No. תעשו לו חודש, תעלו את נפשותיכם, נו, דבר, האזרח, הגר גר בתוככם, כי ביום הזה יכפר לכם וקרב לכם, a ger needs kapara Yom Kippur? He's got to be Jewish.
Ezra means a native-born Jew.
But the ger and Ezra.
Well, why does it say when Gary says...
And Ezra is not a ger, right?
There's not a ger.
But he's Jewish.
Shuvah is only for Ezra. There needs a conversion.
For Ezra, we saw Yeshua.
The Ger is not mentioned.
Because he doesn't need. Because he doesn't need, because he doesn't, we'll see why.
But there you see Ger is a conversion.
All I'm showing you, listen, you began with, listen what you had. You began with, a ger can't be Jewish, why? Because we give him a Neveila, right?
Right.
But he has to be Jewish. The Kippur, he needs kapara, right? Chametz, how can you say chametz? The ger there has to be Jewish. What? He has to be Jewish. Paraduma. A ger needs paraduma or not? Parshas, it's coming up soon, no? It's a Rishon also, isn't it? It's a Rishon or sheini, but Rishon is a Rishon.
Rishon.
Yeah. Okay. And Perek Yutet, pasuk Yud. What's it say? Vaisat ishtoret parapara v'niach mutzamach b'chamtor v'ayta. A ger needs paraduma. Needs the effort of paraduma. He's got to be Jewish. Is it tuma by goy? There's no tuma by goy. So he has to be Jewish. Should I bring some more?
Why can some more?
And he's chayv koreis. What?
He's Muslim, or is living in it. Israel is part of the
A resident alien. That's a Ger.
Wait. Is a ger?
Resident alien.
How many names does a ger have? There's a ger stam, right? V'samachta b'chagecha. Ata b'chalavam b'ger sheb'sharecha. Is a ger chayv in Shabbos? לא תעשך מלאכה, אתה, ביתך, ביתך, עבדך ועמתך ועמתך. Jewish or not Jewish? If he's Jewish, what's the chiddush? If he's not Jewish, why can't he work? I can have a Shabbos going.
Why are you a bun of Katana not allowed to work? That could be
Could be. Okay. All I'm saying, wait, you agree? Everyone agrees it's confusing as could be?
Yeah.
We're going to put it together, okay? And we'll see where גירות is. It's simple. There's ger sheb'sharecha. There's also what? Ger sheb'kiblecha. Right?
Ezra.
Ezrach v'ager. Ger gabasuchechem.
It does say B'nai Yisrael.
Okay. Ger shebartzecha. We have what's there's I'm going to give you a page with everything on. I'll send you WhatsApp with everything. I'll keep you in suspense. We're good? It's confusing, right? It's super confusing. But sometimes he has to be Jewish, sometimes he's not Jewish. Okay? Now, where do you have ger the most? There's three places in Chumash that we have laws day-to-day life, right? Now, where do you have laws about day-to-day being a good Jew? You have Parsha Mishpatim. Like where else? There's three, right? Goshim to you. And a little bit in Devarim. It basically the whole speech in Devarim. Okay? In all those three places, ger over the place, isn't it? Ger b'shur had it, and it doesn't seem to be Jewish. There's lots of examples. For example, v'afta bet ger in Devarim. Why? Ki ger meitem eretz Mitzrayim. Does it make sense he's Jewish?
No.
Oh, that's
Whenever it says ki ger meitem eretz Mitzrayim, he can't be Jewish.
yes, but it's a model. Even the Sfardim and Ashkenazim, that's a model from the Torah that, like you were a guide in the time, so you should understand that if somebody is not like you,
be nice to him. Yeah, no, be sensitive. That's why we have to remember it's Mitzrayim. Yeah.
In Shamar Lecha, where you have the most important national religious mitzvahs of the Torah. Keep Shabbos, keep Shemitah, don't intermarry, be on the regel, keep kosher. Ger is not mentioned at all. Ger is not mentioned.
When on Shabbos?
In Shamar Lecha, in Shamar Lecha and Ki Tisa.
Yeah.
Ger is not mentioned at all.
There's no bein l'chavero there. Ki Tisa is only bein l'malkom. Ki Tisa is all the laws of mishpatim of bein l'malkom. Right? After Chet HaEgel, right? God took the sheini away, right? So the sheini is not with us. So there's no aliyah l'regel. There's no midat hadin. There's no thing. After God brings the sheini back and says, gives a new brit. So I have to repeat Parsha Mishpatim, because now God's with us again. Yirech Hashem b'kirbeinu. I repeat all the laws of Bein Lamakom. I don't need to repeat Bein L'Chavero. That doesn't change. It's a repeat of Mishpatim with little changes. Like, we add Elohim Masech Lo Tasalach because of Chet HaEgel. Shlosh Pamim B'Shana, Yeroch Hashem Adon Hashem Elokei Yisrael. It's all little changes, but all because of Chet HaEgel. Okay, now we'll make sense out of it? Okay, ready? Now. Yeah, question. Oh. No. So what I'm trying to show you is that Ger is sometimes he has to be Jewish, sometimes he can't be Jewish. So I want to show you the definition. We're going to begin with? We'll begin with, nowadays, La Halacha, what do we do for how do you become a Ger?
It's missing the korbanos.
You need tefillah. We learned tefillah from Har Sinai, B'Kidashtam.
And Milah.
And we need Milah, right?
And you need oifas.
Why would Milah make you a Ger? That's what made Avraham Avinu. That was Brit Milah. Is Lil Lachal Elohim. That's the keshet. Now, open up Perek Yud Bet in Shmot. This is most to make sure you have the Hakhel. This is important. Everyone have? Take Perek Yud Bet.
You mean the Korban Pesach?
I Korban Pesach. Now, all the laws of Pesach and parshas in the beginning of Perek Yud Bet. We're out of Egypt, right? At the very end of Perek Yud Bet. Oh, we forgot something. Don't forget Pasach. No, don't forget Pasach. Okay, we're not sure who. Take a look. Okay. We just got out of Egypt, we're out, and then we have like a little, we forgot something. Don't forget Pasach. Rule number 1, right? What's that mean? Only for Jews. Clear, only for Jews. Goyim can't have, by definition, because Pesach is thanking God Hashem for being habtarim, isn't it? You understand why? That's obvious, isn't it? Pesach is bein habtarim.
Why?
When you jump to
Read your Haggadah. When does God promise to bein habtarim? Yodot Teda, Ki Ger Be'eretz Olam, V'avdu V'inu Otam 400 Shana.
The kiyum of Brit.
The kiyum. Now, when do we thank God every year for bein habtarim? Mikrat Bikurim. Bikurim, you thank God that Arami Aved Avi, Ve'er Mitzrayma, Ve'er Vayirei Otam Mitzvah Ve'anunu, Inuit, Ve'nu Avodah Kasha, V'avdu V'inu Otam, V'nitzach Hashem Akenu, Ve'shma V'yitzeh Hashem Mitzrayim Ve'chaseka V'zon Mitzuyah. We're thanking Hashem for bein habtarim, aren't we?
Yes.
Every year, because in bein habtarim, the Tet has l'rishta. Has begin with what? Ki Tisa la'aretz, Hashem neten l'cha l'rishta. That's why if you don't bring Pesach, you're chayav karet. The two mitzvot that say you're chayav karet, Milah and Pesach, which is Brit Ben Habtarim and Brit Milah. The two Britot of Avraham Avinu. Yud Kei Vav Kei Elokim. Hashem Hu Elokim. Don't listen to the sheini. Hashem, it's the same God. But there's two different perspectives of how we have a keshet with him.
Hashem is Milah?
What? No, Elokim. Brit Milah is Elokim.
And Hakim is Avram, like Vayikra.
And Brit Ben Habtarim is Yud Kei Vav Kei, only Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, you didn't understand.
Elokim,
listen. Brit Milah. Elokim spoke to Noach at Brit Keshet, right? Brit Keshet was Shem Elokim. It's a bein Elokim and bein Haaretz. Like the flood begins with Elokim, remember? And also Yud Kei Vav Kei is angry, remember? They're both angry, and Basof, Yud Kei Vav Kei promises no more floods, and Elokim promises no more floods. Remember? It's so beautiful. It's Machaya.
So Dom Vamor is just Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Yeah, because that's Pesach. Big Mama. You know Stom is Pesach. It's a matzot, tzakat Stom Maraki Rabba.
One second. Matzos is...
So from Hakhel, Lloyd.
The Lot story is a promo for Pesach.
Is this a
It's the same thing.
This is a
What does Rabbi Menachem Leibtag do? What? Tzakat Stom Maraki Rabba. And Erdana ve'ere. That's it. What's a sled?
If somebody eats crackers...
No. Before stone, what does Hashem to Avram? Tzakat Stom Maraki Rabba. V'chatam ki kapdamod. Erdana ve'ere. הצגתה בעילה עשו כלה ואם לא עדה.
ויצעק עם בני ישראל.
No, what's Hashem tell Moshe at the snare? What's he say? גם לא, אני אשר בקבר במשרד יעקב. What's he say? רואו ראיתי את עוני עמי אשר במצרים, את צעקתם שמעתי נוסף, כי ידעתי את החובה וארד להצילו מהמצרים. לרדת, צעקה, שמיעה, ידיעה. They're all there. והתמהמה. That's I remember that, no? Vitmahama, Vitmahama. That's when Rashi says.
And Arizal that Sodom came Megillah and Mitzrayim and everyone else.
When Lot feeds the matzah, right?
I don't understand.
Lot feeds the guest matzah, right? What's Rashi say? Pesach haya. Who's he trying to kid?
No, but the Rashi is.
Rashi says Pesach haya. Why? It wasn't. How can it be Pesach? Right? But when it's the theme of Pesach, because stone carries Mitzrayim, Kegan Hashem carries Mitzrayim, it's got the river, it's wealthy people who oppress others. It's the same what Egypt did, Begadol was what stone was doing.
Small, micro.
Yeah, and because, what do you call it? Shali, shachaz, stone. Now, let's go back to גירות, okay? What I'm getting at is that there's a special law if you're going to thank Hashem for bein and habtarim. You have to do Brit Milah. You understand why? And therefore, there's a special section. Zot chukat pesach, kol ben neichal lo yochabo. If you want to eat it, what's it say next? We're in Perek Yud. What's it say next? Kol ben neichal lo yochabo. Wait, we'll get to it again in a minute, right?
Yes, to
Umato tas yochabo, okay? Toshav ser lo yochabo, okay? Listen, I want to show you where you have גירות in Chumash. Listen, okay? Ger, what's it say? If you go to Ger, Vasa Pesach, what's that mean?
There's a half in the Gemara that he has
If
to
you
every
want-
That's
Ger.
Avamino, it's in the middle of the Gemara,
No,
right?
if he wants to make a Pesach.
Now, Vasa doesn't mean he did it, he wants to do it, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Ger, Vasa Pesach, he wants it. Right now he's a Ger. He's a Ger,
Ger means.
he's a Goy.
Right.
He's a Goy Gomor. He's a Ger. Right now he's a Ger.
Yeah.
He had Ger, because Ger can't eat a Pesach, he's not Jewish. He had Ger, and he wants to bring Pesach, what's he have to do?
He has to
Himolo kol zachar like our dinner. Vaz yikra plasoto v'haya kezrach haaretz.
So.
But he's not an Ezrach, he's ke'ezrach. Why?
He's not fully
That is Gerut. That is Gior.
Halfway.
Absolutely not. No.
Halfway.
No, it's Gior. What? You have
Oh,
to
you're
give it up.
Ke'ezrach.
What?
He's not fully Ke'ezrach.
Ke'ezrach, but he's never an Ezrach. Why?
He's like a Ger.
An Ezrach has nachala. What's an Ezrach? An Ezrach has nachala. Listen, who gets the nachalot?
Only B'nai Yisrael.
Only Bnei Yisrael kovesh. There's one guy who got a nachala
Kenny.
who wasn't Jewish.
Kenny.
Chavav. Why? Because he joined before the kibush, right? But once you have kibush Yoshua, all the gvulot and everything goes back to the original owner. Once you have the first chalukah in Bayit Rishon, that's it. A ger can't have nachala. He has no financial security, right? And therefore he's going to go with the Levi. Remember? It didn't become Purim. What did we say? V'samachta b'chol hatov.
V'halevi.
They can't bring Purim because they don't own land. They can't thank God for that's the Rishon. They have no Yerusha. That's why the Levi and Ger are together there. Because it's not because he's poor, because he can't have Yerusha. That's why they go together. And that's Rishta in the beginning. Look at the Rishta. It goes back to now. Again, now if you know your Yecheskel, the kibush of Yeshua was good to the end of Bayit Rishon.
Yeah.
What happened at the end of Bayit Rishon?
You gotta know.
But love, right? When Yecheskel has us coming back, remember? There's new Nachalot with all the Shvatim.
There's lines like that. One of them's a Ger.
That line, yeah. What?
Ger, right, that's right. There's one of them's a Ger.
Why? Because now we can fix it.
Wow.
Because Gerim now has Nachala. That explains Yecheskel perfectly, right? And the word right there, every word's right there. But who gets it? Listen. Now we missed the best part. Go back down to Perek Yud. Chiyagoy Ger, Goy. Ger, he's not Jewish. Ger Tosha. Okay. V'asa Pesach, he wants to do Pesach. Himol Perek Yud. At the end of it. Himolo Kol Zachar, Vayikra Plasoto, Vayak Ke'ezrach. He's like an Ezrach, except what? He can never be an Ezrach. Unless it's a female. He can marry. The root gets Kefach. But a male can never get Nachala because he doesn't have a shevet. He can't have a shevet by definition.
There's instructions after you come into.
Okay, you'll see in a minute. This is that. What's next? What's the next line? Torah chad yalachem. The ger. Listen carefully. No, it's once he does gior, the same law applies whether he's an ezrach or a ger. Why? What would you think? Why would a ger not have to bring korban pesach? Why would I think even if he does gior, he can't bring pesach? Because he didn't come out of Egypt. He didn't come out of Egypt. So what's Chazal telling you? When you Megayer, what are you? You're like everyone else.
But it doesn't say, it says Asher b'tochachem, it doesn't say b'kir b'chem.
That's right.
Tochachem is not really.
No, from now on, listen carefully. Listen, every time, we'll check it out, okay? Every time it says a ger shebetochachem, he's got to be Jewish. We'll check it, every one of them.
But he's still different.
Let's go.
He's different, but he doesn't have, yeah. You won't find it in Mishpatim, you won't find it in Kedoshim Tiyu, you won't find it in Sefer Dvarim. Where are you going to find it? In Vayikra, and the parts of Bamidbar, the belong to Vayikra. Right? Every time, there's like 60 sometimes in Chumash, you have a ger, 67 I think. The word ger is mentioned, all different kinds. Ger Shabbatechem, like 11 or 12 are what do you call it? Are Chiyuvei Karet, we'll see them as the Chiyuvei Karet. We'll see some examples. Achil Adam. A ger or not? Well, open up Perek Tevav in Bamidbar, because right after Chatega. In Perek Tevav, right? What's the first law? In Perek Tevav? In Dvarim, don't read Perek Tevav. The first is the Nesachim, right? Okay. Yeah. There's the Nesachim in Perek Tevav. Bamidbar, Perek Tevav. That's right,
it's not the first one.
Perek Tevav, after Chatam Rabim, right? Ki Tisa La'aretz, right? We have the laws of the Sachim. Remember, Miskem Ken, Shoshem Parsh, Yishem Ayim, Yishem Lekevas, right? Pasuk Chet, what's it say?
I'm
sorry, Pasuk Yibet. Read Pasuk Yibet Allah. Yibet.
You mean
Louder, listen. Everyone, continue. Now, were we chayv nesachim in the desert? No machloket.
It is machloket.
It's for korban tzibur. Korban yochid.
Even the korban yochid.
If there is a korban yochid, you can't be chayv nesachim in the midbar. Why? There's no nesachim. There's no flour, and there's no wine. Maybe you can buy expensive, but there isn't any. What? For a korban tzibur you can find for the cloud.
I disagree with you. Parshas Tetzaveh, right at the beginning, it said, "V'zeh shetasa al mizbeach, kos meisham k'mimim, shnayim yoyim al tamid, sekef so'ef." But basically, the basir so'ef so'ef so'ef.
It's a tip. Parshas Tetzaveh goes.
And there's
Because we're supposed to go right there. They were going right to Israel.
No, it said, "V'zeh shetasa al on this mizbeach in the Mishkan."
Yeah, in the Mishkan, but we're supposed to go right to Israel right away. There wasn't a plan to stay in the desert for a long time.
Why did it say Yain B'Shefer Al Peish Tato V'Nechel? Why is there a mitzvah?
No, it's out from the desert. That's for all generations. When you read Parshat Mishpatim, we're supposed to go to Israel right away. We're supposed to go to Israel right away. You're going right there. All the laws are to keep right away in Israel.
There's even from the Navi, it's mashma that they don't even bring korbanos in the midbar.
That's right, but they didn't bring back. Anyway, that's a side thing. But listen to the main thing, okay? There's no imshat. There's no nesachim in the desert. The pasuk says so. Ki Tisa La'aretz. You're chayv nesachim. Simple imshat, right? Now, why would I think? No. But in Eretz Yisrael now we're chayv nesachim because we have land. Why say ko ezrach yisrael yaseh kacha? Who's an ezrach? You own land, right? How about a ger?
Does not.
Pasuk Gedalit. Louder. This is crazy, right? What's going on?
No.
Say Ger.
Well, ger shabbatechem.
All
What's
ger.
ger or shabbatechem?
Ger means he's already there for a long time. Chiyuv yitchem ger. If it's
Ger.
coming now.
So what's or shabbatechem?
When they
I'm telling you.
All ger shabbatechem. It doesn't make any difference if he's Jewish. Can a goy bring a korban?
Yes.
Of course he can.
So the first guy means Jewish.
A goy can bring a korban.
Pesach means a guy.
What?
First get.
Goy shabbatechem is a convert. Who brought korban pesach.
Ger is a convert.
No. Ger is not a convert.
So if he-
Oh, Shabbatochem is a convert.
So the first
Who
one,
says?
wait a
Who
minute, so
says?
you're
Why that way? Why not the other way?
What?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a din in the chepsa, not the gavra. When you bring up korban, that's making it 2 yards. It's a din in the mikdash.
So your word Chem Ger refers to the Gentile.
A ger is a ger, and a ger is a Jew. What?
You
What?
asked the question. You answered
Yeah,
the
go ahead,
question.
listen, yeah.
Okay, the difference of the Sefer means he's already there for years. He's joining Klal Yisrael. He's living in Israel.
Ger Shabbatochem.
No, as we said, yes. Chiyuv yitchem ger it means he comes now to join. That's the difference. But
Because I want to show you every time I define after korban pesach, right? What is the definition? Zot chukat pasach. This is my key point. Zot chukat pasach defines gior deraita. Right? It defines gior. Why? Because Goyt Chager, who's not Jewish, I don't care how long he's been there for, he's not Jewish, okay? Vasa Pesach, he wants to bring a Pesach, you have to be Jewish. Himolo Kol Zachar, Gior, Vayikra Blosoto, Vayakez Rach Aretz. That is Gior. And that's why it's there.
why is it more Gior?
Because from now on, every time Ger Shabbatochem has to be Jewish. He's always Chayiv Karet. We'll check it out each one. If you're Chayiv Karet, you have to be Jewish. You can't be Chayiv Karet if you're not Jewish. So we'll check it out. Every time you have Ger Shabbatochem, you'll be Jewish.
Right, so when it says Asher B'Torachem, we're not saying Ger, it's shorthand.
It's shorthand. Get all Ger, all Shabbatochem, all Ger Shabbatochem.
Right. So it's interesting.
And no matter who you are, if you're an Ezrach, a Ger Goy, or a Ger Jew, a Ger Telshab, Ger Tzedek, you're Chayiv Nesachim. Because it's the din in the Chepz, in the Korban, not the din in the person. Not in the Gu, not in the Gavra. Understand? It's a Chepz Gavra. It's a law for the Mikdash. In the Mikdash, once you're in Eretz Yisrael, the Mikdash, you bring a korban, to make difference. A korban needs the
So
sachim.
the next pasuk tells
You have a cookout, you have to have bread, you have to have drinks, right?
So in Tezvav, it says Hakhel, Lachem, that refers to all Jews, whether converted. And then Blager Agor refers to the Gentile.
No, the Garagar.
No, there refers to
the Garagar, okay, fine. Now, what's the next case?
That Ger means a Gentile.
Okay, that's,
Because
but keep reading now.
Torah Chat, Meshpalach Yelachem, Blager Agor Itchem.
Itchem, that's Itchem Skubetechem.
Now you're saying refers
that's
back
a
to the
convert.
Jew.
Yeah.
The convert, got it.
Okay, now, read the next, what's the next case? The Chala, okay, that's fine. Doesn't mention Ger.
Right.
Next case.
Okay.
The next case is Parhal Davashot Tzibur, right? Parhal Davashot Tzibur now, right?
Yes.
Okay. What happens? Yeah. Parhal Davashot Tzibur is only if Beit makes a mistake. That's mitzvah for Am Yisrael.
Exactly.
So why would a ger need? Why does the ger need Parhal Davashot Tzibur if he's not Jewish? Because what Beit Din Pascha had nothing to do with the ger. Right? If a ger isn't Jewish, if Beit Din makes a mistake, which God commanded, it's got to be, and the kapara of this Parhal Davashot Tzibur is for the Ezrach and the ger. He has to be Jewish. He would need Parhal Davashot Tzibur, and it's Asher Ger Shabbatochem, right?
Yes.
I told you see echad echad.
Yes.
Now, what's the next case?
The next case is about
What?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, what is you get it from guy or Shabbat? So,
There it's shorthand.
It's shorthand. Ger, all, Ger
The first
Shabbatochem.
Ger is a Gentile, and Asher B'Torachem.
Oh, Shabbatochem, and what?
The first Ger is a
First Ger is a goy.
so why in the continued parshas it's referred to the Jew?
No, Ger, that's the thing. Stam Ger is a goy. Okay? A goy, and Stam and Ger Shabbatochem is always Jewish. What's the next? Next case is Achil Adam, right?
Why would you think that the convert shouldn't need kapara?
Why non-Jew?
No, yeah. Okay.
Oh, what's the Havamina? That's a good question.
Listen, that's exactly why all the Choikrim say there's no such thing as a ger. There's no such thing as conversion. And everyone academic tells you there's no conversion. The rabbis made up a bayis sheini.
Why?
Why? Because of his question. Because if he's Jewish, then why mention him? That's the big question. That's the problem.
Well, he's like,
If he's Jewish, why mention him?
but he's cut Ezra. He has no nachla. Everything is about having nachla.
He has no.
He has no nachla, like you said.
Because there's always a havamina. There's always a havamina. Why? So Pesach makes sense.
He's a foreigner. He doesn't have land over here.
He's not a foreigner.
Even though. But the question, if
He's a
there's
naturalized Jew.
Okay.
And he doesn't have all the rights of a Jew. He doesn't have
listen, a lot of people say, it's like Chok HaChametz. You're living with us, you can't bring Chametz to the hospital. You know the Chok HaChametz?
Right.
You're living in Israel, you gotta keep Shabbos. You're living in Israel, you gotta eat Pesach, Chametz the 10th. But that's what they say. That's what even some parshas say that.
He doesn't need to eat Pesach.
Right.
If he wants to eat Pesach, then he has to be
He has to become Jewish. A goy can't make usher.
It says oral.
And Nechem means he's not joining you. He's a...
Kol arel lo yochabo.
Okay, no.
You can't bring korban pesach unless you did gior.
That's why you need to...
He has to do gior.
Not gior.
You say just needs Milah.
So what is Neveila? This is
What?
Neveila.
So this is yeah.
Milah is an identification of these
I didn't
Jewish
say
brothers.
sure. That's it.
So
That's guidance.
That's gior.
That's guidance.
Nein,
You join the college, so
ja
yeah.
goy, was kommt wohnen in Etzisruel.
Und wusst noch
Er stellt sich zieht klar Etzisruel, that's it.
Exactly.
Weil sie tun nicht mit Chal Shabbos, dann kann ich einfach in Kastos und Shabbos, kann ich nicht
Aber
sagen,
wird jetzt Hakhel von der Brit.
Exactly. Join the club.
Wird Hakhel von der Brit.
wer ist der
Look at the next case.
It's
Yeah.
interesting by cursing.
We'll get to Megillah. Yeah.
That's what we're up to, basically.
Let me tell you the word before you use it. Listen, the big problem is what you're asking is the biggest problem. What's the big problem? If he's Jewish, right? If he's Gur Mamish, then say once Torah and you're finished.
Yeah.
Why only some laws, right? You include the Ger. If he's Jewish, once is enough. Why mention it? So I'll give you the maskana and I'll try and prove it. No matter what you do, people don't makabel Geri. Ask your friends in Flatbush. Okay?
Well, the Chivas.
What? A Ger's a Ger, right? Now, it's so easy to say a Ger, but he's really not Jewish, right? To this day, right? How are you going to be inclusive? What are you going to do to make sure a Ger feels he's accepted? What do? You're chayiv koreis. What's that mean? If you're chayiv koreis, you're one of us. You follow?
Yes.
Because you would think a ger can't be chayiv koreis because he's not really Jewish. You follow? It's so logical not to accept gerim, right? I can prove it. Right? Yeah, it's only natural. Every society feels that way. Even Americans down south. I don't care if you're a migrant. A migrant's a migrant.
It's similar to
What?
It's similar to what I hear from someone else. Chomosh v'sayich. Where does the Torah says? Say chomosh v'sayich.
Huh?
Only where there's a halvman, it should only be in Western English. So whatever.
Okay, but by Omer.
All the places where it says chomosh v'sayich and the v'sayich.
Yeah.
If there's a halvman, it should only
Be in the base of Mikdash. Because of it starts with the laws of Omer because they need we'll see by Sukkot in a minute, but I want to go back to Perek Tetvav because they all begin in Perek Tetvav. Yeah, look at Perek Tetvav in Bamidbar. We're in the middle. We did Purim What? Bamidbar Tetvav. Look at Achil Adam. Achil Adam is Perek Tetvav, right? Bamidbar Tetvav. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The next one is the Hakhel. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the Vayikra. Okay. No. We did that, right? Okay. No. In pasuk Chavzai.
Which Perek?
Perek Tetvav. We're going through Tetvav. Bamidbar Tetvav. We had 3 times already. Gershom Tochachem and Perek Tetvav. We had by the Sachim and by Parliament of Tzibor. And now Ki Nefesh Echatech Ta B'Shgaga V'Kriv Es Barshata Lola. Chibara Kol Nefesh Tashukim Chata Shgaga L'Shem Chata L'Misach Lo. Okay.
Ezrat v'nei Yisrael v'lager gar b'tocham, Torah chad yelachem v'tzeh b'shgaga.
Yes.
Right? Who needs a chatat? That's a korban chatat. For what?
That's a common.
When you bring a chatat, on a mitzvah, you're chayv koreis, you do b'mezid.
Ah.
Right?
Ah.
Where does this
A korban chatat can only be for a Jew.
One
Because
second.
only if you're chayv koreis, you bring a chatat. You do
Where does it
shogeg.
say in the Torah?
What?
In Torah Shebeksav, where does it say this halacha? That
Of
you
what?
bring
Of
it-
chatat?
Of chatat, that you bring it off only for koreis.
What, for shogeg?
We are talking
You
about
want to know-
in
when you
Vayikra.
said Ger men Torah mena, you meant Torah Shebeksav or
No, I'm going to tell you in Torah Shebeksav. I want to show
Torah
you.
Shebeksav, where does it say that you can bring a korban chatas only for a koreis?
Where b'mezid it's koreis.
That's Perek
Where is the
Dalet.
Torah?
Perek Dalet. What's it say? V'chish kitzu v'lo tasu mikol mitzvot Hashem v'shom lo te'asena. Hashem.
The comments is Hashem.
Yeah? But here, look at the next line here.
Yes, what's the connection?
Look at the next line here. Torah chadav v'ishgav. V'nefesh shetaseh biyad ramah.
No.
Min ezrach u'min hager. Hashem u'magadef. V'nichvetan v'shem mikar ramah.
Now here it says ger. It doesn't
Yeah,
say-
because when ezrach and ger go together, it has to be. Okay, ezrach, but it's either ger shebetachem or ezrach and ger in the duo.
Okay.
Those are the two cases.
Accepted.
Yeah, by pesach, you have it by chametz.
Okay. So that's the only
And that's
time.
correct, okay?
The only time.
There's four times. You have four times ezrach and ger
So the
together.
only time that plain ger means a convert.
It's when he's with the ezrach. It's in contrast with the ezrach. Okay? What's he say? Chatat is what he got. It's bishkaga. You're chayv karei. I think they learned from here. Okay. Now you have the Mekoshe Seitzim. Okay? That's it. That's fine. Now, let's go back now to Vayikra 10:12. Okay? Vayikra Yom Kippur. Okay? Look at Yom Kippur. Okay? Who needs kapara on Yom Kippur? Only Am Yisrael, right? Goyim don't need kapara on Yom Kippur. Okay? Look at Perek Tedvav Pasuk Chavtet. And I mean Perek Tetzayin. Parshat Remote. This pasuk you know by heart. Pasuk Chavtet. Tetzayin Chavtet. Vayta lechem lechukat olam. Remember? That's after the Seder Avodah. V'chol sheni b'asor l'chodesh tanu shechem v'chol b'lacha lo tasu ha'ezrach lagar kar b'tochechem כי ביום הזה יכפר לכם לתארתם מכל חטאותיכם לפני השם תתארו.
It's a little bit Hebrew to say ger go b'tochechem.
He's got to be Jewish.
Why? Why say ger go b'tochechem?
What's the Havamina?
Why is it gotta be Jewish first?
Weil nicht
But
kein
Yom
Nanju das nur
Kippur.
It's Yom
kaputt.
Kippur, so that's the Shvei.
But why is the boy chayv to fast on Yom
Aber
Kippur?
es darf er fasten, er darf auch das
I'm
am
not the fed, I need kapura.
Der Andi ist nach
Einfach
sicher.
kaputt, Tomer, die getan Sachen, was er tun ist.
Aber wenn ich mich hier zieht,
A guy hat nicht
Aber
kein
dann ist-
kapur Yom Kippur.
A goy is just
Yom Kippur.
kapara on Yom Kippur.
Kapur Yom Kippur.
It's not in Yom Kippur. Who's the clue?
It's Yom Kippur.
He's claiming that a guy should also have kapur Yom Kippur. That's a
Yeah, but Yom Kippur was
Okay,
not.
I'll give you an answer, okay? Pasuk Tetzayin. Pasuk Tetzayin. Pasuk Tetzayin. וכיפר הקודש,
בני ישראל.
ישראל, נדם,
בני
וכן
ישראל.
יצא למי, השוכן איתם בתוך טומאתם.
So this guy is not a guy. The most of the shaykhim with them.
You need kapara because you need kapara because the Shekhinah is with you.
Right.
You need protection from the Shekhinah, like the Torah.
Right.
You only have kapara with the Shekhinah.
Yes.
It's only Shek for Am Yisrael because how do you have the chutzpah to be? The Shekhinah means you're close to God, but how can you be? If we're tameh, so how can we? Why does Kohen Gadol need kapara? Because you shouldn't be allowed in because Ashrochen b'tok tumatam. But we can go in anyhow. But we have to show Hashem we're getting something we don't deserve. We need kapara means protection, right?
Yes.
Kapara is protection from punishment. Ulai kapara, it's not atonement.
Right.
The mabul, the chaparto b'bayit muchus b'kofer. Kapara is always protective. What's protecting the aron? The kaporet. What's on the kaporet? Kruvim. The kruvim protect derech the Gan Eden. The derech Yitzchayim. Kapara is protection from Shekhinah. Because who has the right to be Aleh Hashem?
Isn't there the Chaper Yodov?
What?
Like the clean.
No, kapara is the clean, but later zrichat dam v'chiper. So because the act of sprinkling the blood is called kapara, so then the act of sprinkling is called kapara v'chiper. V'chiper lakodesh. But it's a beautiful word.
So kapara means protection.
Achapra panav. Ulai chapra panav. Kfor. Why is frost called kfor? Taka kfor al haaretz. Like the thing. And what do you call it? Kfor kefer yafasa, you said this morning. Kfor is frost. What's it doing? It covers the ground. Doesn't it? Okay, now. By the month, yeah. Now, look at Perek Zayin. So that's Yom Kippur. You agree? Why do we include? Because I would think I want to include the ger. I'm saying, but my main chiddush is to answer all the academics is that they claim if he was Jewish, you shouldn't have to say it every time. So they say there's certain laws the ger mechayvin because you're living in a country. So these are the 10 things. There's a Shulchan Aruch. There's a Shulchan Aruch for gerim. Not Jewish gerim, but a ger toisha. He has a Shulchan Aruch. You live behind. You can't have chametz. You have to keep Shabbos. Keep Yom Kippur. You need paraduma. But then why you have koreis? Yeah. And more than that, every time you mention ger with an isur, and I'm sorry, more than that, every time there's a chiyuv koreis, almost every chiyuv koreis, we include the ger. Every law there's a chiyuv koreis except by pitum haktorah, except we had this week with Megillah, which is understandable. It's not just that every time there's ger shubdachem we have koreis when it's the prohibition. Every single time there's a chiyuv koreis we mention the ger. There's every opportunity we have to talk about being cut off from the people. We include the ger to include the ger. We're emphasizing accept the ger, and logically it makes sense because usually we don't accept the ger. That's the way people are. Understand? And Chumash is fighting because being when you enter a brit, when you accept Ol Malchut Shamayim and you accept to be a member of Am Yisrael, it doesn't make a difference what your genes are and how racist you are. You follow? Chumash is screaming that, isn't it? If you accept Ol Malchut Shamayim, that's why you have to Mekadol Torah Mitzvah. But once you accept it, right, it's screaming. It's not about racism. It's not we're better than everybody. We need to be better. But anyone who joins and wants to take that Ol Malchut Shamayim alav, then you accept it. You accept also the responsibility. So the ger needs to know he's in it all the way, but we need to know he's one of us. So I'm saying the reason why Chumash mentions every time, it's not just when it mentions it. Every time there's koreis, that's when we say ger shubdachem.
Excuse me, what does it mean koreis?
Koreis?
Yeah.
Well, when you enter a brit, when you enter a brit, what's the word? Vayomahu karat Hashem et Abraham brit lemor. When you enter a brit, it's called koreis. Why koreis? Because brit was used to cut animals and have to walk between them. Like you
So what means
that's right.
So that shows that he's part of
Shabbos is we just read in parshas. Shabbat is Shabbat Tishmaru ki oti benu benechem ladat.
Okay.
Shabbat is a reminder of Brit Sinai, isn't it? It's an oath Brit, just like keshet is a Brit Sinai. The oath Brit is the Shabbos.
Okay.
If Shabbos is an oath Brit, if you machalo Shabbos, it's like throwing your wedding ring in the river.
So what does it mean?
You can't represent. You're not a member. You're fired.
So what does it mean? It means that Muhammad means over here.
No, it is. It's just a chiluk from the folk. Therefore, yet the aim
so you should take all of his...
No.
There is a chiluk from the folk. Is the
what does it mean that he gets caught?
It's teaching you that you disassociated from Am Yisrael. Now the question is, can you do tshuva from koreis? That's a big question. Once you had koreis, is their way back in? Yeah, that's a big question. But koreis is thematic. It means what do you call it? It means you're cut off. It means you're doing things that show you're not part of the club. Right?
Okay.
And they were joining. That's your.
So you're not a Jew anymore.
What? Maybe halakha, but you. It's not a punishment. It's a consequence. You understand the difference? It's not a punishment, koreis. It's a consequence. What's your best proof? 2 mitzvot that say you're chayv koreis without doing anything. What are they? Brit Milan, Brit and habtarim. Why? Because if you have a chance to bring korban pesach and you don't bring, you're saying I don't identify.
So
your actions made alecha. So Nichra is telling you, you don't belong with us. It's something, these are basic things everyone has to do. That's all. Now, go back, that's in Perek Tet. Look in Perek Tet Zayin. In Perek Tet Zayin.
Which
In Vayikra, we'll go in order. Vayikra?
Yeah.
Shkutei Chutz, right? Shkutei Chutz, who's chayv in Shkutei Chutz? Who's chayv in Shkutei Chutz?
Ezra.
Let's take a look, okay? Okay, pasuk now, pasuk chet, okay? You know about Shkutei Chutz, right? If you want to bring a korban, if you want to eat chulin even, it has to be a korban. In the desert, you want to eat meat, it has to be a korban, right? In Eretz Yisrael, you can bring basar taiva. Now, pasuk chet, what's it say? Valem tomar, I'm saying, valem tomar, okay? Valem tomar, have it pasuk chet, okay? Pasuk chet. Valem tomar, ish, מבית ישראל מן הגר אשר יגור בתוכם.
But Gentiles can bring carbon oil also.
Listen,
but you're saying this does not refer to Gentiles.
No. This is
but
what
we know the Gentiles could.
This is first good. Now this is seven. Listen. ולם תאמר איש מבית ישראל מן הגר אשר יגור בתוכם, אשר לא עוזבה. והפתח עומד לא יביאנו, לעשות לו להשם, ויוחד אישו מעמו. מעמו. It's what? Gor asher b'tocham. It's like b'tochachem. That's a ger tzedek. Okay. Bishish beit Tisa b'gar gor b'tocham shechol dam. Natem v'neim bev shachet adam. Yichatu da b'ker ramo. Achil adam only Jew, right? כי נפש הבשר דמו, ואני אתן לכם לצמח כפרה נפשתכם, כי אדם בנפש שפר, או כן אמרתי בני ישראל נפש של דם, והגר בתוכם לא יאכל דם, הגר בתוככם. He has to be Jewish, because otherwise it's kind of koreis, isn't it?
But what about the Gentile bringing a korban olah? Where does it say it's forbidden for him to do it chutz?
He can eat meat anywhere.
Yeah. He could do it.
Yeah, he's not kind of okay. Now look at the next one. Pause here. Vishish b'bnei Yisrael min hager hagar b'tocham has to be Jewish again. Asher tzut tzayv v'chay v'of asher echad damo. Kisui adam. Only who? A goy is chayv b'kisui adam? Of course not. Does that prove it? These are laws for Jews. Why mention the goy? Mention the ger. Ger asher b'tochachem has to be a ger, and it was all defined with chotat pasach. You understand? Chotat pasach defines Torah chayilchem hager b'tochachem. What made you a ger? Going to ger, non-Jew, vasa pesach, brit milah, gior, okay? Imolo kol zachar, vasi krav losato. And that's why the Gemara Sahabamina, remember what's the Gemara Sahabamina? When you do gior, I might think the day you do gior, you have to bring pesach, right? Is that the Habamina in the Gemara? That's where it's coming from. I might think, not on pesach, right away. That's the Gemara's Habamina, isn't it? No. What's the next case? Like you must say that in Perek Yud you have also, right? Arayas. The Arayas in Perek Yud are from Yisrael, no? I think so. What's it say? And then what's it say at the end? Pasuk Chavzayin, right? I'm sorry, Pasuk Chavav, okay? Ushmartem in Perek Yud after the Arayos. We read this on Yom Kippur Mincha, no? Ushmartem etem et chutav et mishpatai, v'lo tasu mikol hatovet eile. Arayas is from Yisrael, aren't they? There's Arayas for God, but not these. These laws are from Yisrael. What? No, the what do you got? The toivot. That's incest and things like that. Yeah, that's not because some going to have, but these are what do you call all the extra ones. Okay.
What about gercha shebeshorecha by Shabbat?
What? That's a machlokas chazal, isn't it?
Your minor child.
Machlokas Ramban and everybody else.
This is the only time that a minor bincha refers to your minor child.
No, listen. On Shabbos, what's it say on Shabbos? Okay? Sheshim tavosim lotecha, v'yoshav lotecha. Lo tesecho melacha. Listen, lo tesecho melacha. Atav v'incha v'tachaf chama.
Must be ketanis.
1 second. You and your children can't do melacha, right?
This is an anomaly.
And your animals means your meshik is closed. Continue. Now, is that saying? Listen, there's three possibilities. It's saying, if he's not Jewish, it says what? Ger Shar B'Kebecha, right?
Ger Shar.
Ger Shar. Chazal say Ger Shar is always non-Jew. Why? What's it telling you? Not that he has to keep Shabbos, but what? But he can't work for you. You follow? That's like your behemoth. I could say it's not a din on him. It's a din on you that he can't do it. You can't have a Shabbos.
Just like your chayav on your children Shabbos.
Just like your son.
That's it. So
Now, the left wingers say you're better than that. You have an obligation to give him a day of rest. Now here's the chiluk. Listen, this works like a T. This is the biggest chiluk. Pay attention. This is the here. What's the difference between all the different cases? There's laws of a gerim, right? Which is how we treat the ger, and laws the gerim of his responsibility. Listen to the chiluk. It works like a charm. I'll explain it again. In Chumash, there's laws where if there's a ger has obligations, like what? Like the sachim, shutei chutz. There's obligations of the ger. Okay? Whenever there's an obligation of a ger, he's Jewish, because Chumash doesn't obligate a non-Jew. Chumash is for Jews, right? Whenever there's a law how we treat the ger, he's always he can also be non-Jewish, which makes perfect sense. You follow? Listen how simple it is. It works like a charm, doesn't it? Take every single case. Whenever there's a law that we're obligated to take care of the gerim, anybody? You have to be sensitive to Ki Ger Meitem Be'eretz Mitzrayim. Whenever it's a law relating how you treat a less fortunate person, it doesn't make any difference if he's any kind of a ger. Ger Toshav, Ger Chet, a ger, take care of him. Take care nicely. Whenever there's an obligation of a ger, Dam, Shutei Chutz, etc., then he's got to be Jewish. It always says Ger Shapatochachem, Oki Ger Kezrach. You can check it out for homework. Okay? I've sent you a sheet that has them all homework done. Or you can do an alator, do a search. What happened during Corona in the summer? I was bored. So someone asked me a question about gerim. So I did, and nothing to do. So I did the printout of every ger in Chumash, organized them, ger shaptochem, ger each one, lined them up, and then I thought, let's check it out, right? Let's machalek the brisker chiluk, right, between our chiyuv to a ger and the chiyuv of a ger.
Is there a difference?
Isn't that a perfect chiluk? That's a classic chakira, right?
What about ger asher b'kir b'chilam? Is there a difference between? Is that another?
I'll prove you there's no difference. Why? Simchas Yom Tov. Okay, we have Simchas Yom Tov on Shavuos and Sukkot, right? Take a look in Bamidbar in Dvarim Tetzayim.
Yes, you have to take care of them.
Yeah, listen. It's called Ger. Chazal called Ger Shar. It's a Ger Toshav, right? You understand the chiluk between our chiyuv to a ger and the chiyuv of a ger? It works perfect. Yeah, now look at it. What's it say by Shavuos Pasuk Aleph, right? V'samachta b'chagecha. What's it say? The ger asher b'sharecha. Look at
Levi asher b'sharecha.
Yeah, Levi asher b'sharecha. Ger asher b'kirbecha. Right?
Levi asher b'sharecha.
No, ger asher b'kirbecha. No, what's the ger? The Shavuos asher b'kirbecha. Now, look by Sukkot.
Look me be sick is my
The pasuk ketval. Got it? Ger shebekirbecha shebesharecha. Right? What's that mean? Kebekirbecha b'sharecha are interchangeable.
Wait a minute.
Oh, this b'sharecha is the same.
Yatom v'amana asher b'sharecha referred to non-Jewish yatom v'amana?
No. B'sharecha doesn't mean only a goy. It means it can be there, but a ger shar is someone living in your community. You're not going to take care of your parents, so you bring a Filipino to watch it. He's living in your land. Be nice to them. Take care of your grandparents. What? They'll take care of you.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
A scholar once explained to me the difference between the Tov and the Kerev.
It's mamish b'fim. He was wrong there.
The Kerev is one who is really fully part of the group. The Moshe Hashochein, like the Torah Kerev. Hashem is not part of the group.
Somebody says Shochein Itchem Shem Tochachem. You have to check every single one.
Yes.
You have to see if there's
I checked
synonyms.
it out throughout the Torah, and that's the case.
It's always Itchem and
And among people too. Levi, the Kirbechem is one of us. So how does it work out by Ger? Because sometimes by Ger says Hashem.
So it could be different between a ger living with you all the time or something. No. When you talk about a goy who's not living with us, but he's just visiting. He's coming for business. That's a nochri. That's bein.
How does it work in the Hakhel?
What? It can't be Jewish.
It can be Jewish. Yes, it's called a ger.
That's a good question. Okay, I have a better question in a minute. But the dog, it could be other of it. Maybe Dafka, the ger who converted to be bigger than you, okay?
Yeah.
Now, here's the biggest question, and this is the quote. Hakhel. A ger is chayv in Hakhel or not? Well, why can't he be chayv in Hakhel? If he's not Jewish, he's not Jewish, he can't be chayv in Hakhel. But Hakhel is about the Torah, right? Okay. If he's Jewish, of course he's chayv. So open up Devarim Perik Lamed Aleph. I thought this ruined everything, and then we fixed it. Listen carefully. Devarim Perik Lamed Aleph. Hakhel is for Am Yisrael, right? Hakhel is every 7 years we living Mamad Har Sinai. That's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, Hakhel is Mamad Har Sinai every 7 years.
The Gercha shall be Shalecha.
So wait, but read the beginning.
Which part?
Hakhel et Ha'am, Perik Lamed Aleph, Pasuk Yud Bet Nuz. Hakhel et Ha'am.
Anashim ve'anoshim ve'ataf. The Gercha shall be Shalecha.
That's Ger Shar, like all through the Bible, yeah? Keep going.
Ma yishmu l'man yilmudu v'yoru es Hashem l'nei. Hashem d'las es kol v'yeter azayis.
Okay, now, and that's like, doesn't that root it? Because he's not Jewish.
Right.
Why is he in Hakhel? Whose chiyuv is this? Is this a chiyuv of a ger?
No.
Or our chiyuv?
Hakhel.
Hakhel
You should.
What? We have to invite him. Why?
Wow.
We have to invite him to Hakhel. 2 reasons. We need to know who the gerim are, so we can make the Torah, and he has to know what rights he has.
So we can draft him in the army, should
So
be
we can-
part of the nation.
No, we need to know who the Shabbos guy is, who we can use for a Shabbos guy.
21% of the population.
You understand? We're chayiv to invite him. He's not chayiv to come, we're chayiv to invite him.
Maybe it's his obligation to know that Yiddish Halakha is able to live in those.
But my whole point is, the Torah can't be chayiv a non-Jew. By definition, the Torah is chiyuving for us.
But it's his obligation. If he's coming to live in a nation, he has to know the rules of the nation.
What?
He's coming, not chiv Torah, it's chiv of the Am.
Yeah.
He has to know the rules of the nation. You're coming to new land, you have to know the laws. You can't bring the local law over here.
Okay, but it's not a law for him. But what laws does he have to know?
He has to know the laws, what's going on here. So whatever they're going to speak by Hakhel.
But he has to keep them? I'm saying it just makes sense. If the main Chiluk, it could be, I'm saying, if the main Chiluk is, I'm saying, if the main Chiluk is, whenever there's a Chiyuv, our Chiyuv to the Ger, right? It does make, it includes even a non-Jewish Ger. When we talk about the obligation of a Ger, he has to be Jewish. Because Torah is Machayev Am Yisrael. Right? And once you're part of Am Yisrael, and that's why every time he has an obligation, which is a negative obligation, we include Chiv Koreis. We go out of our way to say you're Chiv Koreis. Do you follow?
It has tap there, and that's
What? It's like when you give someone a discount, right? You give someone a discount, he feels like he's not part of the group, right? Oh, you're like, sometimes you can't be too nice to people because then you feel you're not part of the group. So because giving him the obligation makes it feel inclusive.
Support of what you said, that's why in that pasuk it says together, Leman Yishmu, Leman Yudu, V'yotz Hashem Elokechem. That refers to everyone.
Yeah.
Shamrulat, then it says V'shamrulat, so it doesn't say V'shamru in that first phrase. Shamrulat so, cultivate Torah so.
That's probably so, yeah.
Maybe that's why it's still up.
Yeah.
Anushim,
Yara was every citizen,
maybe.
Anushim
living there, he has to.
Now, I'll give you an example from when
women and the children.
in the first half, up to the top, you know little academics? You know the academics from Milah and Vayikra between up to Perik Yud Chet and after Yud Chet? You know there's big Kedusha and you know the Chiluk or not?
Tell us.
No.
Tell us.
Some people don't.
They call it, it's okay, right? You know little shtickle, right? It's shtickle kira. You know P and H?
Yeah.
Okay, you're familiar with P and H, right?
Yes.
P is the priestly code,
Yes.
and H is the holiness code, Kedusha. They're onto something, but their interpretation is wrong, right? There's a difference. The first half of the book, what's Vayikra? The first half of the book is all about the Mishkan, isn't it? Because God's in our midst, we can visit Him, but you can't visit whenever you want. Okay? The whole purpose of the Mikdash is not limitation; it's emanation. You understand? So when you go to shul to leave. Okay? You bring your sukkah. You don't leave the sukkah.
The message.
You don't leave the sukkah. You bring the sukkah into your home.
Isn't the halacha of you bring the kelim to the sukkah? You guys don't sit in the sukkah Shmini Atzeres, do you? You have it right, don't you? The Ashkenazim have it. The Mishnagim have it all wrong, right? Yeah, Mikoshi, but you Shmini Atzeres, right?
Right.
And you take the kelim from the bayis into the house.
Yes.
And you're in the house. Because that's the essence of Shmini Atzeres. It's a transition, because I take the sukkah into the home. I take Shabbos into the week. All that. Kedusha is separating, but it's not God in a cage, the Mishkan. It's God concentrated to emanate. Remember Yaakov's dream? What's Yaakov's dream, which is about a mikdash? What's he see? Machim olim yordim. And what? Ufras yamav v'kei batzafon of a Okay, Hashem is nitzav alav. He connects to Machim olim barit, and he's
spread the message.
Spreads out. Understand? It's the whole idea of mikdash. Of mikdash is I need to connect to Hakadosh Baruch Hu and spread it. But first it's got to concentrate in one place and spread out. So the first half of Vayikra is about the Mishkan. About what is that? Now that I have a Mishkan and I visit, I take the Kedusha outside. And now I'm Kadosh. Because you represent God, Kadosh is what you are, it's what you need to be. And the second of a Vayikra is Kedushat Adam, Kedushat Zman, and Kedushat Makom. But it's now outside the Mikdash. How we act outside the Mikdash? Kohanim outside the Mikdash. The Nefesh Lo Yitam Abama. What? Kedushat Adam is Kedoshim in Emor, first half of Emor. Kedushat Adam, Kedushat Kohanim, but outside the Mikdash. Emor is Kedushat Zman, and Bahar is Kedushat Makom. Shmit and Kedushat Haaretz.
Kedushat Dam.
No.
Kedushat Am.
Kedushat Am. People. Am.
Thank you.
Zman.
Am Zaman.
The three Kedushot.
Am Zaman and
Makom. Matter, space, and time. The first class in physics. The three units of measure. You learn a little physics, maybe. There's 3 units of measure. There's mass, right? It's matter. Right? There's time, and there's distance and length. This is Zman Adam and Makom. What? Oh, yeah.
Actually, this week also we have Shabbos. Vayikra starts with Shabbos. It starts with the Mishkan.
Yeah, good. Shabbos is a weekly reminder of Har Sinai in the realm of time. The Mishkan is a weekly reminder of Har Sinai in the realm of place. It's the Ramban. It reminds, but the Mishkan relives Har Sinai B'makom. And Am Yisrael is Kedushat Adam. So you get my point on so let me summarize. We went through, I can bring it, there's more of them, but that's a lot of them in that. But notice, in a second, why did I bring that down? The second I leave the Mishkan in Vayikra, the Ger is not Jewish anymore. Remember? On Yom Kippur, Perak Yud Zayin, Yud Zayin, Yud Chet, and Yud Chet is what he called. That's the end. Kedusha begins, there's no Kedusha in Perak Yud Chet. There's Kedusha from Perak Yud Chet on. Right? From Kedoshim to you, everything's Kadosh. Now, from looking at Kedoshim to you, is there a Ger Kedoshim to you? He can't be Jewish. Why? What's the big cloud of Kedoshim to you? Ask Rabbi Kiva. What's a Klal Gadol in No. What's a Klal Gadol in Kedoshim? What pasuk is that? Take a look. Perak Yotet. What's it Yotet? We don't pass in that way. What's that? Pasuk Yotet. Lo titov lo tikoret b'nei amecha. V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Who's Recha? Recha b'mitzvot, whatever it is. How about a goy or a ger? Pasuk Lamed Gimel. Pasuk Yotet is a build-up for Pasuk Lamed Gimel. V'ahavta l'recha kamocha is easy, your friend. The Chigoy Ger Barsachem. It's not Jewish. Lo tunoto. It's easy, right? Ki Ezrach Mikem Yelechem Ager Garitchem. V'ahavta lo kamocha. You can make them Beretz Mitzrayim. This could be either. But again, it's our obligation to the ger. Can be Jewish or not Jewish. Okay? Then lo tzasel b'mishpat. But now it's how we have to behave, and therefore it can be any type of a ger.
Even a Zod?
It can be any ger. It's not his obligation; it's obligation to him. And whenever it's obligation to a ger, it can be Jewish or not Jewish. Now, what happens in English when we say he's a ger, he's a convert, right?
Yes, right.
Nowadays, why?
when you're living outside your country, if you're a ger in someone else's land, if you're living in Europe, if you're living in anywhere but Brooklyn, but if you're living among goyim, right, and there's goyim all around, right, you're a ger, right? And if in your community there's someone, right, who's strange, right, then you're a stranger, right? Yeah. So a ger is as a convert. There is no other ger when you're outside your land. When you have your own country, right, and you're sovereign, you have a country, go ahead, then a ger is a stranger who's not part of your country. Right? Because when we're gering in other people's lands, so the whole concept of ger is a convert.
So you're explaining why the concept of ger has changed today?
Yeah, because all concept of ger changed. Yeah. But now that you're running a country and you're sovereign, and you have Filipinos, because what's the dean of a Filipino coming and taking care of your parents, or the dean of a Sri Lankan, right? They're living in your land. They're goy gomor. They're good Shabbos goy. We need them. What? You have to treat them nicely.
The enemy treats them the same.
No, listen. Enemy, like people want to kill you for sure. You don't have to treat them nicely. Go finish them off. But a stam pasha de ger, a pit of the ger, who's living you, helping you. He's in your land. I could treat him. I can pay him peanuts. You follow? Could treat him with respect. Be nice to him. Be extra nice to him. Invite him. Make him happy on Yom. Invite him to the Kiddush, be nice to him. Don't treat him like they treat us, you follow?
And what do you do with Neveila? How can we give it to the ger?
That's ger, that's a ger shar.
Yeah.
So
every time it says ger,
that's not his obligation, that's obligation to the ger.
We make him.
We have to give it to
You have to give him food. Now, that's such a great line, right? What do you do with the Neveila? Okay? All timkor lenochri. Now, it's such a sugya, right? What's it mean? It means you can't give it to an ochri, you have to sell it, and you can't sell it to a goy, or you can give it to a guy, but of course you can sell it. You understand? Is that limiting? Is it mavait, or is it? It's such a great sugya, isn't it? Is it good idea? Is it typical? In an ochri you can sell it to because he's a businessman, and a ger you have to feel sorry for him, or is it mamish just usher to sell it to a ger?
So ger always means
a ger shar, it's a ger tosha.
A ger shar always.
Now it could be.
Why is the ger mentioned? But it's in the Neveila. It's in Vayikra. It's not like a koreis. The koreis doesn't make a koreis. Wait. So that Vayikra Tetzayin. Yeah. That's Yom Kippur. No. It's Yud
Zayin. Tetva, that's going to be Dav, right?
It's a timid by Neveila.
Oh yeah, this is good. This is great. Okay, look. This one, a ger, you feed him Neveila, right? Right? That's got the ger, that's stam ger. This is the best proof. That's stam ger, right? Now, yeah, read the pasuk now. Listen to this, listen carefully. No, read from the beginning. I'll read for you.
Where
Vayikra Yud Zayin. I didn't finish it. I should have read one more line. Vayikra Yud Zayin. This is a chiyuv of a ger. Listen carefully. Yud Zayin. Kol adam. No, that's Yud Zayin. Yud Zayin. What are we up to? You have a second? Okay. Yud Zayin. What pasuk it was? Tetvav. But start from Yudalid. Okay? No, that's fine. That's Isidah. Okay? Tetvav. Okay? Kol nefesh yeshem tocha Neveila trefa b'zach v'ger v'chibes b'ger b'chaz b'mayim b'tamei ha'aretz. That's stam ger, but I'll show you that was already introduced as a ger shel b'dochem. Because look how it began. It began in pasuk Yud Aleph.
No, but it said.
No, listen, no. In pasuk Yud Bet.
He said whenever it says Ezra.
Yeah, Ezra, they go together. But look at Yud Bet. Okay, but this again. Al kein amarti bnei Yisrael. Kol nefesh bikem lo tochal dam, v'ager agar b'tochem lo yichal dam. That's the introduction. So agar b'tochal dam, okay? B'ishem b'nei Yisrael min agar b'tocham, asher yitzay that's ger shel b'tacham, kol nefesh b'tzav dam lo yicher, and then b'chol nefesh tochal Neveila trefa be'ezach v'ger, is rock and ger together, is a ger shel b'tochachem. Remember, whenever it's ger and it's rock together, we had that by chametz and by pesach. That's what it called. Then the kibitz. Now. He's tamei if he's in Neveila. He's got to be Jewish, right? The ger who's not Jewish, you give him the Neveila, he can eat it. It might be even a mitzvah to give him the Neveila. But if he's a convert, he's tamei. Understand? Now, why bring it down? What's the Avamina? He's just a ger, maybe he's okay. So the fact he's Tameh means he's Jewish. I'm just saying, that my main chiddush is two things. One is that if you check them all through, you have to machalik between our obligation to a stranger, no matter what kind of stranger, and the obligation of a stranger. My whole point is, if Chumash is obligating a stranger, it's got to be a ger, sheet gayer.
Rabbi Tzal asked me one question,
Yeah.
I don't yet have an answer. Going back to Parshat Re'eh, comparing Shavuot to Sukkot.
Yeah.
By Shavuot, it says,
okay, that's ger shar. The ger shavashurecha. Okay.
So there it says
Ger, that's ger shar. Now,
meaning a Gentile.
Yeah, even a Gentile.
So you should include him in your simcha.
Yeah.
By Sukkot,
What's the name of Sukkot?
it has
Read it. Continue.
By a Tom Asher B'Sharecha.
So it's ger shar.
So it's ger shar. So both of them, but here, for the first time it said Asher B'Kabecha.
The ger's b'kebecha.
So I give Asher B'Kabecha went on the Atom B'Amanon, not on the ger.
Also the ger.
This is
So that's the problem.
No, that's what I'm saying. Ger b'kebecha and sharecha are interchangeable.
And meaning what?
The non-Jew.
No, but we said.
That was your word, not my word.
So that's it.
That's the thing. B'kebecha b'sharecha is the same thing. Ger b'artzecha, ger b'shabecha, are all the same thing. Only ger sher itchem, ger b'tocham, or ger b'tochachem. That's the convert. All ger is not the ger. The best thing is Hakhel, no? You see Hakhel awesome?
What's the passing? What's the passing? Where is
Hakhel, the end of the Hakhel.
Which parak?
Yeah, Lametet. I think Lametet, I'll take it. Hakhel Lametet. Lametet. Babam. Here, look, yeah, pasuk Yitzay. Okay? Oh, no, that's Lametet. No, I'm sorry, Memtet. Mem Zayin. Okay, got mixed up. Late at night. Mem Zayin. No, that's not it. That's too long. No, okay, wait a second. I know where's on the page. I'll find it, give me a second, with the bum. Yeah, here it is, yeah. Perik Mem Zayin, pasuk Yud Gimel. Okay? Bum. Tabeit at the end. Okay? Here. Start from Kalal. והחלקתם את הארץ הזאת לכל שבטי ישראל, ויד תפילו אותם בנחלה לכם. איזה גרים? תוככם. אשר הולידו בנים בתוככם, ויהיו כעזרה בבני ישראל איתכם, יפלו בנחלה בתוך שבטי ישראל.
Which garam is that?
בתוככם. Now they get נחלה, why? Why Rishon, why can't after Yeshua, right?
They weren't part of the kibush.
They weren't part of the kibush, they can't get nachala. But like kibush, right? Everything starts there. You come back and buy sheini, right? Any ger who's already b'tochachem gets nachala, why shouldn't he? They didn't get the first time, not because they were gerim, because they weren't there. Except for cholal. They do got a nachala. But now in Bayit Sheni, when they come back, the Chesed is opening Yerusha Shniya. So if there's Yerusha Shniya, if Gerin come back, and there's Gerin Meshapetochem, the Jewish Gerin, the Ger Tzedek, they get Nachala. Why shouldn't they? But there's 15, that solves the problem.
What's the Elidi Bunim? What's that?
And they have children, they have a family. Yeah. They get a Nachala, we have to give them. So that was the Gerim. I hope it was clear. Check it out. But there's two things. One is the Chiluk between our Chiyuv to a Ger and the Chiyuv of a Ger, and the idea of Chumash, the idea that every time there's an obligation, whenever there's obligation of a Ger, and it's a prohibition, we always include. It's always when there's Chiyuv Korei, and we're going. And even though he's Jewish, we have to mention to tell you he is Chayv Korei. To tell you he is Jewish, to emphasize he's Jewish, to be inclusive, to emphasize it. And more than that, every time there's a chiyuv kareit in Chumash, we always include the ger. It's not that when there's a chiyuv. It's whenever there's a chiyuv kareit, we include the ger, except by the Torah. There's two little, which we can understand why they're
Mit Yadim. In the Megillah.
I think that you said, I think they're identified with the Jewish people. I don't think they became identified being Jewish. But I'm saying that the idea that
maybe there was a need. Maybe there was a need to
the Persian province was called Yahweh.
and that's Ger. And nowadays no Rabbanu would accept them. Why? That's the reason for Ger. Yes. And Mityadim means instead of fighting us, they support us now.
They became Zionists.
They became Zionists. Yeah.
Like the Bedouins.
Should they use
What?
What? Ger.
Not Jewish.
Who?
Ger is to live somewhere in Chutzlaretz, right? Said it doesn't make so. The only other.
That's right. It's like in Chutzlaretz, the Ger is always
the only
a
term you
convert.
have is Messiah.
What?
You don't have a term of Messiah.
But listen, the word Yehudi, that's your word Yehudi is unique from Megillah.
Even Mordechai.
That's from Zechariah.
I saw this at the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
That's why the word is the official. That's what it means. Yehudi.
Yahud is the
Yahud was the Persian name. The official
Yes.
Persian name of that entity of Judea was Yahud. They called it.
No, but that's the beauty. So why are the Jews? So why are the Jews in Persia called Yehudim?
Oh boy.
They shouldn't be called. The Jews in Judea are Yehudim because they're living in Yahud. The Jews in Persia are living in Yahud.
On their identity card, it said that they are Yahud.
That's what Megillah said. So it should be. That's why the Megillah is called them Yehudim. Ish Yehudi, right?
He was a man from Yahud.
The whole point of the Megillah, the Jews should have been back in Eretz Yisrael already because it's after Koresh. So the Yehudim, calling the Jews Yehudim, like you might say Yehudim, you belong in Yehuda.
This is the Persian document.
Ish Yehudi is twice in, you know that, right? Ish Yehudi is 2 times in Tanakh, right? You knew that, no?
Where's the other one?
In Zechariah. The 4 fast days will become holidays.
Yes.
They met for Shema Havu, right? In Zechariah Perichet. Remember, God saying, you want to build a Beit HaMikdash? They want to know it's going to be it. He says it's up to you. It can be Gula if you do Emet B'Shalom. Emet B'Shivtu B'Sharechem. Isharat Lo Tachshuva B'Avchem. Right? And then the fast days. Remember they asked, do we continue fasting? It says, you want to fast, fine. But if you do Emet V'Shalom and Ishet Re'eu, then the fast days will become holidays, Emet V'Shamahavu, and then the Perichet. Uvo goyim rabim v'goyim atzumim l'vakesh Hashem tzvot. Okay? What's it say? Be'etai she'echil asra nashim b'kol shal goyim v'yichziku b'nav ish Yehudi v'mo Hashem imachem. So, who's the Ish Yehudi in Zechariah? We're building the second Beis HaMikdash. It's after Koresh. We finally build the Beis HaMikdash. And the Ish Yehudi should be where? In Yerushalayim Abira, making a name for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And where's an Ish Yehudi? Shushan Abira. And his name is what? Marduk? Marduk, Baladam, Marduk, Evil Marduk. Marduk is the... If you know Chatzrat Koresh, he doesn't talk about God, he talks about Marduk.
He's related to Astartes.
Yeah.
Who talks about it?
Koresh, in the real Koresh in the Sarah cylinder, when he lets all the people go back and build their temples, he's giving thanks to, Ezra says, Heir Hashem et Rach Koresh. But Brit Yeshayahu it says, V'hu lo cheni dameh. Understand? He doesn't know it's God, because the Neveila are telling us, that's not Koresh, that's God. Okay? That's what Yeshayahu Bevdal is talking about. The Mshichah the Koresh. Kol Hashem the Mshichah the Koresh. Aksher Tzati V'chulei. V'hu lo chen. You know, he doesn't realize it. He thinks he's a big shot, drawn behind the events. But he's giving thanks to Marduk for allowing to take over Persia, taking over Babylonia. But the Jews should have been back in Israel. Instead, an Ish Yehudi, instead of being in Yerushalayim Abira, in Shushan Abira, his name is Mordechai. It's all. Now, how do we remember Purim? What's the end? They send a letter to do what? What did we start to Purim?
The Rishonim.
No, Maton Ish L'Re'ehu. It's right from Zechariah, over and over again. And Maton Devyonim. That's why the first Mikdash was destroyed, because we didn't do that. Remember? And that's what he said. Don't destroy it. Now, if you want the second one to be built, do that. We're doing the mitzvot to make us worthy of having another Beit HaMikdash for the Shekhinah to return. Now,
at the end it says he sends another letter, called Tokef, remember? גירות Purim הזאת השני. Okay. He sends a second letter to keep the first letter, right? Yeah. And what's in the letter? Divrei Shalom Be'emet. That's Zechariah, right? Lekaymet V'Meilot Banim Kasher Kimu, Kasher Kimu Nafsham Bazaram, Divrei Tzomah V'Zakatam. That's the vote of Zechariah. So what's Purim? Purim is a virtual mishteh of Zechariah. The fast days becoming holidays. You may mishteh b'simcha. And no, Purim is a celebration of what needs to happen when the Nevuah Zechariah come true. When Am Yisrael comes back, therefore, calling the Yehudim, Yehud is really Judea, right? And calling the Jews in Persia Yehudim, remember? Now, what did they sin? The Kelim Shunim. If you know Ezra, the Kelim came back with Koresh, didn't they? Koresh gave all the Kelim back. The Shesh Matzar, it says so, right in the beginning. Right. So the Kelim are not the Kelim of Beit HaMikdash, but what if you eat on the Kelim of Beit HaMikdash, that's Milah. That means you don't care about the Beit HaMikdash. So that's thematic. Achashverosh is described like Chatzer, like the Beit HaMikdash, isn't it? Remember? It's where to go. Yeshno Am Echad, Ufuzam Fred Ben Amim, V'tatem Melech Einam Shomim. V'lemelech Lo Shabbat L'Anicham. Who's the Melech? Remember, Hamelech Achashverosh is that. Who's Hamelech?
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
But he's hidden, right?
Yes.
Now, Hashem is hiding in the Megillah, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you can't mention Shem Hashem. You give it away. You follow? But it's written. You have to look for God to find Him. Understand? That's the beauty, because that's Am Yisrael and Golos, right? Hashem is there. You can't see Him. If you look for Him, you'll find Him. So the way the Megillah is written is the message. Why isn't God's name in the Megillah? That's the whole message of the Megillah. God's there, but He's hidden. Mm-hmm. That's why they changed her name from what? Her name was Esther, wasn't it? I mean, her name was Hadassah. Why are we calling it Esther? Because the whole book is we're hiding. Hashem is there, but you can't see Him because we're in Golos. But you have to look for Him. If you look for Him, you'll find Him. But the way the Megillah is written is the message of the Megillah. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Everything has a double meaning. And that's why Melech is a Shekhinah. Right? Is that Hashem about Am Yisrael? Or is that Haman about... So there's a double voice. Okay? Just like Hashem called upon His nation, right? We're like His wife, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? We're like a Chatan Kala. God called upon His wife to show off His beauty, told His greatness to all the nations. Right? But we don't come back. What's it like? Mm-hmm. Like Vashti, no? And what will happen? What did they say? If Vashti, it's not only Vashti doing it. Whoa! The whole oilam is going to want to go. Remember what are the ramifications of what Vashti did? The whole empire will be Lapzot. Yeah, everywhere. We have terrible effects. Everything.
What's your proof that Hamelech is Hashem?
Oh, come on.
Chazal say that, no?
No, but you said in the beginning some proof that it must be Hashem.
I'm saying it's the idea. It's hiding.
It's Zechariah. The Navi Zechariah.
No, Zechariah. No, that's the issue from Zechariah. I'm saying
that
all the messages. You can't give it away. If you're hiding something, you can't spill the beans. You follow? But you have to leave breadcrumbs. You don't know what breadcrumbs are. Yeah. Breadcrumbs? Okay. In other words, I have to hide it, but I can't hide it too good. Right. When you play hide and seek, you can't hide too good. If no one finds you, there's no game. You can't hide too easy. You have to hide it. It's got words of a show. Not you any Kabbalah, right? I only start there. It's so much deeper when you have to look for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's in your Har Sinai. It's in your face. It's too much, right? You need 3 steps back. But Ruchaniut is much deeper when you have to look for God, when He's there. It's much deeper when you search for something to find it. You get schar. But I'm saying the way the Megillah is written, how can Chazal canonize? How can it be in the Chavdalit Sfarim if Hashem's name isn't there? If it's in Tanakh, it's got to be about God, right? That's the best proof. The fact it's canonized, right? It's got to be about God, but it's not there. But He's there. He's just hiding. But they have to give you enough hints that He's there. So we changed her name from Hadassah to Esther, right? We have Reb Chatzad Levo Leibim Memokom Acher. What's Mokom Acher? Hine Mokom, Iti, Hine Mokom.
המקום Menachem Leibtag. המקום is a key word all through. Anyway, it's very late. We have to stop here. So we need the American.